Okay, welcome. I'm so happy you're all here. This is really special to me for several reasons. One, because um, this is the last kind of live thing I'm doing this year. And I'm so excited to just lead you through an ancestor meditation because it's been so incredibly powerful for me. And, some of you may have seen that I've talked a lot on YouTube about Listening When Parts Speak, which is a book by Tamala Floyd, which is such a gift. I highly, highly recommend it. She mixes internal family systems with ancestor work, and it was so refreshing to me because to me it's all one. It's all just part of reality. I've been doing ancestor work with IFS just kind of organically, and I'll tell you a little bit about my journey to doing that. But this book is so beautiful because Tamala shares very generously about her own parts, and my parts related so much. I mean, I felt like at some points I was saying, are Tamala and I the same person? Like, she's got the people-pleasing parts, this very sensitive crybaby part, the mothering parts that hold shame and guilt, and the parts that show up as pain in her body, and just all these parts that I think a lot of us can really relate to. She has little vignettes of her clients. Often really intense things that she describes how IFS helps them with the loss of a child, with terrible trauma and abuse, suicidality, all of those things. So it's really practical. It's really gives so many examples. And the other thing I love about it is that so what happened was Tamala started doing ancestor work, and her ancestors on her mother's and her mother's mother's side started coming to her and just kind of meeting her in these very kind of visual ways and giving her these meditations. And she had this desire to share them with other people so that they could benefit from them as well. So I'm going to lead you through one of those today. But before I do, I always like to start groups with a check-in just to see what's alive in you right now. I think it's always a kind of a good thing to do whenever you're transitioning into any new moment. So just about a 2-minute exercise. So I invite you to look around you and see if you can pay attention to all 5 senses, what you see, maybe what you hear, smell, taste, feel, maybe the temperature on your body. You might feel where your body connects to your chair or the floor, the bed, wherever you are. And what you're doing is you're checking to see if you are safe in this moment, in this space. And if you are, you might express some gratitude for that. And you might extend your exhale. Again, you don't have to do this if it doesn't feel comfortable for you, but extending your exhale tells your body that it's safe. And if you're not safe, I encourage you to do whatever you need to do to feel safe. You might need a blanket, you might need to close the door, turn your camera off, whatever you need to do to feel safe. But if you do, I invite you to make that while you turn and to kind of turn that spotlight of attention that we've been putting on our outer world on your inner world. And just notice what I call your pets, PET, any physical sensations in your body, any emotional energy, and any thought activity. Again, just whatever comes up for you, whatever you notice. And there's nothing to fix here. There's nothing to solve. It's just a noticing. Ah, I see you. You're not alone. You're welcome here to be just as you are. Whether that's a pain or a sensation in your body, an emotion that's rising up, anxiety, sadness, excitement, anger, or it might be thoughts about what happened earlier today or what's coming up, or even about this meeting. Just greet them all. I see you. I'm here with you. You're welcome here. You're not alone. Especially when I notice suffering, I will say, Beloved, I see your suffering. I'm here with you. You could say whatever makes the most sense to you. And you don't even have to say anything. You can just radiate compassion, attention, love, connection. You might put your hand on the part of your body that is feeling any discomfort. We're just welcoming whatever is here with us. And as you notice what's alive in you, often some things will be able to relax because they so desperately just want to be seen. But some things may not be able to relax, and that is okay. That just means that they have more they want to show you or tell you. And so you can turn toward them in this moment if you want. The question I like to ask is just, what do you want me to know? And let them tell you and listen. Or you might make a note and make an appointment with them, a specific time when you're going to come back to them. In the ancestor meditation, they might be the one that you work with there if they're really active right now, and maybe it's difficult for them to acknowledge self. So you can let them know that you will be spending time with them. But for now, just invite all these parts that are alive in you to settle around you in your lap or maybe in your heart. They don't need to go anywhere. They're welcome to stay during this whole time. And as you settle in with them, I will say the intention that I have for every group that I lead, which is that this is an open, non-judgmental space where we can see and hear and feel who we and others truly are. We recognize that we each have a universal longing to be seen and heard and valued and loved just as we are. And this is the same longing of each of our parts. So in this space, all parts are welcome. We practice loving whatever arises, knowing that non-judgmental curiosity is often our first step. So we give and receive compassionate witness, first for ourselves and our own parts, and then for each other. We give from overflow. All right. Okay, so all the parts are welcome here. And whenever you're ready, you can come back out and into outer space, as I say. So we're going to pretty quickly get back into an ancestor meditation, and then we'll have some time for sharing and Q&A after that. But before that, I wanted to share a little bit with you about why I think ancestor work combined with IFS is so powerful. So for me, when I was doing IFS initially within my own system, I understood that there was this aspect of time travel, right? Where my current adult loving self would travel back in time to parts of me that were stuck in moments of trauma or conditioning or different things where they took on burdens. that they were stuck back there. So I would imagine myself kind of, I knew the scene they were in, and I would kind of walk up from a little bit of a distance into the scene and begin to witness them and give them loving attention and connection and help, and eventually, bring them or reparent and redo the situation, bring them out and do the whole IFS process. At around the time that I was doing a lot of that, my grandmother was dying in another state. I was in Texas, she's in California, very far away. And I was distressed that I could not be with her while she was dying. And I had this thought, if I can time travel, I can space travel, right? Time, space continuum, why not? So what I decided to do was that every time I went to the bathroom, which was a lot because I have a small bladder, I would, every time I went in the bathroom, I would imagine I had been in the facility where she was. So I imagined being there, walking up the walkway in the door, talking to the reception desk, getting a badge, going back with her. I would see various nurses. I would see my sister sometimes. I would go and I would lay in the bed with my grandmother and hold her hand and stroke her hair, and she would recognize I was there with her. And it was just this beautiful times of connection with my grandmother before she passed. And so then after this, and I would even confirm with my sister times when I had done this and she was there, and she would confirm that certain nurses were there wearing this and that. And so it was really fascinating. But then after she passed, I felt so connected to her that I continued to connect with her um, in kind of a similar way. And then I would also connect to my grandfather. I had a friend named Erin who passed that I would connect with. We had a member of our group here named Pilar that passed. I've connected with her. Another wonderful member named Katie who passed, who I've connected with. My cousin passed. I connect with him. Derek Scott, who said he was graduating to become an ancestor, I've connected with many, many times. And before this meeting, I laid on my back, which is my go-to place to connect with my parts and with ancestors and different things. And I connected with all of them and asked them to support us and be here with us right now. And it's just such a wonderful thing. I want to say one caveat. I've had people who've passed who, for example, my maternal grandmother, my first husband, who were abusive to my parts when they were alive, and my parts have not been open to connecting to them. And that's okay. That's okay. I do know that I could potentially connect to their self, but my system is not ready at all to do that. And that's okay. So it's not like you have to connect to anybody. But I just want to hold out the hope to you that it is possible that you can. And you can even connect when we do this meditation just to whoever shows up. And it might be an ancestor from hundreds, thousands of years past, right? That you don't necessarily recognize, but they have this beautiful supportive energy for you. And so as we do this meditation, the purpose of it is sometimes we have parts that have a really hard time relaxing, or maybe it's really difficult to have self energy with them because they're so distressed. They're really blending with us. It can be where's self? It's hard to connect to my own self. So we can call on our ancestors' selves to support us and help us connect to our own self. And it's this collective effort, right? That we don't have to be alone in it. Sometimes I'll even, if I can't connect to my current self, I will call on my future self, and I will ask my future self to come. And she will always give me a perspective and comfort, and it's and wisdom. It's incredibly beautiful. There's a whole team of beautiful support that you can have access to. So, and I think that was really Tamala's intention as well in this book. All right. So without further ado, um, I am going to go ahead and lead us in this meditation. Sorry, I'm going to just make two quick kind of caveats about this. One is this is a bit of a visual meditation. And if you are a person that does not visualize, that is okay. Not everyone visualizes. Dick Schwartz does not visualize. And so what I would say is support yourself by really drawing on whatever senses you have access to. So you might hear things, feel things in your body. Just be open to whatever knowing you might have. If you want to support yourself, also, you can get a piece of paper and you can draw what I'm describing, whatever comes to you, or you might even get like little objects that represent things so that you're giving yourself a visual of what's happening. Um, but for all of you, whatever shows up for you is good and right. There is no right way. There is nothing you should be doing or experiencing, because we can have parts that really want to get it right, right? And I want to just assure those parts, you cannot get it wrong. You don't have to make anything up. If they will just give you space to be in openness to receive, even if there's nothing, that's the scary part, is in the unknown. There's nothing. I'm not receiving anything. I don't see anything. I don't sense anything. It's okay. It's okay. Just be open and allow yourself to receive whatever comes and let your system see that. And if you have parts that do not want to participate, they just want to listen, that's okay too. All right? Okay. Let me just read this paragraph that Tamala is describing this meditation. She says, and it's called The Crystal Cave with the Ancestors. Tamala says, as I spent more time getting to know my ancestors in my mother's mother's line, they continued to support me in learning the IFS model by offering meditations that were inspired by the model. I found this extremely surprising. I wondered, how do they know my heart so clearly and offer precisely what I need to achieve my goals? What I learned is that our ancestors love us immensely, and they conspire for our highest good. To this end, my ancestors led me to work with my most challenging parts by drawing on the self and energy of my ancestral line. This meditation is offered to provide the additional support of ancestor wisdom and self energy to support you when working with parts that you may struggle with. Okay? All right. So we are going to do the meditation now. So again, just adjust your body to whatever is comfortable for you. You might extend your exhale. Again, you might look around if you need to, just to make sure you feel safe. And then I invite you to close your eyes or perhaps have a soft gaze, whatever feels safest for you. And again, bring your attention to just notice your body in this space. You might feel your feet on the ground or where your body connects to the surface it's on. I like to feel gravity pulling on my shoulders, on my jaw. And you might, if it feels supportive to you, just imagine that you're inhaling from the bottom of your feet all the way up through your body to the top of your head, and then exhaling back through your body out the bottom of your feet. And you might do this a couple times, again, just to help you Your body and mind feel safe. Our breath is really a signal of whether we're safe or not. And again, if you're not safe, support yourself. I invite you to imagine that you are hiking or walking in a canyon and just admiring the breathtaking sights along your way. If you can, take in the scene with your senses. You might feel a breeze or sunlight. You might hear animals, insects. You might see different rocks or trees. During this trek, as you're walking along, you get caught in a downpour. The rain just starts pouring down on you. So you look around for a place that you can just wait out the rain. And out of the corner of your eye, you see a cave. And as you focus on the entrance to the cave through the cascading water, you see or sense an ancestor there who's waving you over to join them in the cave. And again, you might see this ancestor, you might just sense their energy. If you can, just allow whatever comes to you, as long as it's a welcoming, loving energy. So you dash over to the cave and you duck inside, and your ancestor accompanies you deeper inside the darkened space. But you're not afraid because you feel supported and welcomed and guided by this presence. And you begin to see a faint light in the distance. So you curiously take in your surroundings. So just notice again, whatever you notice, whether you see it or feel it, sense it in whatever way. You're drawn to the walls of the cave. You notice colorful, luminous crystals are embedded in the walls. And when your eyes fully adjust to the limited lighting, you see a second ancestor seated on the floor. And again, just whether you see this or you sense this, just take in the energy of this second ancestor. And this second ancestor welcomes you and invites you. And the ancestor who initially greeted you at the entrance goes and sits with them. So again, take a moment to visually or with whatever senses really capture these two ancestors. What do you sense about them? What is their energy like? It might be someone that you've known in the past, it might not. Anything that comes to you is right. So the ancestor who was in the caves says, "We are here to help you with a part of yourself that you struggle with. Notice this part and invite it to join us whenever it feels comfortable." So this might be a part that you noticed in the opening practice that we did, or you can just ask a part who's really feeling, having some suffering right now, if it will come forward. And just notice that part, welcome them, let them know they're welcome here. The ancestor who greeted you says, "We have seen you wrestle with this part, and we have come to offer wisdom from your ancestral line to support you as you work with this part of yourself." So the ancestors encourage you to draw on their energy to increase your own self energy. So the three of you sit with the part, and all three of you emanate self energy toward the part. The ancestors supporting your self energy, and all three of you sending love and connection and curiosity and compassion to this part. You're just sending it energetically. Like a huge waves of love coming from the three of you toward this part. You can just see how the part responds to this. And if they're willing, see if they're willing to join you and these two ancestors to get to know them. Let them know you really just want to get to know them. You want to understand them, listen to them, be with them for a little while. See if they're open to that. And the ancestors begin to take turns with questions to help you get to know the part. The first ancestor encourages you to ask the part, "How do you help me?" So go ahead and ask the part, "How do you help me?" And just be open to receive an answer. You don't have to make anything up. Just receive whatever that part wants you to know. How do you help me? And then the second ancestor asks you to ask the part, "How did you start helping me in this way?" So you're getting curious about why this part started this job or why it felt it needed to start doing this. And just listen to whatever it wants you to know. How did you start helping me in this way? Next, the ancestor instructs you to ask, "How long have you been doing this for me?" So again, just ask the part, "How long have you been doing this for me?" And just wait for an answer. And the next question you hear is, "What are you trying to accomplish by doing this for me?" Like, what is the value, the goal? What is the good that you want to come from this? Let me understand your good intention. So ask the part, what do you want to accomplish by doing this? And if at any point you're getting answers and you feel impelled to express appreciation or care, or ask further questions, you're always welcome to do that. The next question suggested by the ancestor is, do you like what you're doing? And you can be open to whatever the part says. Do you like what you're doing? Next, you hear the question, ask the part what it would rather do if it didn't need to protect you in this way. Or if it didn't need, it might not be a protector, so maybe it just feels a certain way. Like if it didn't need to do this or feel this way, what would it rather do? Or how would it rather feel? And lastly, one of the ancestors asks, is there anything that you want to say to this part? So yourself that is here witnessing this part, again, whatever you feel impelled to say or do, go ahead and say or do that. Okay. So now the ancestor gets up and walks to the illuminated wall, and they slowly move their hand over the colorful crystals, pausing at one and retrieving it. The ancestor hands the crystal to you, saying, this crystal will help crystallize what you have learned here. Take note of the size, weight, shape, color, vibration, energy, as this crystal will represent this part for you. So really take a moment to take that in as this token of representation that symbolizes this part that can maybe be a literal touchstone for you to come back and connect to the part. And you can keep that with you. And then the other ancestor asks you, is there anything that you want to ask or say to us? So spend just a moment or two, whatever you want to say or ask these ancestors. And after this exchange, your ancestors offer to walk you back to the entrance of the cave. So they both on each of your sides walk you back. And as you get closer to the opening, you see the sun shining brightly, the rain is past, and it lights your way. If you would like to, you can set an intention with your ancestors and the part represented by the crystal. It might be an intention to come back and do some more with that part, or it might be an intention to meet with that part briefly each day for a certain amount of time. It might be an intention to come back to the cave with the ancestors with a different part, whatever it is you would like to do. And then whenever that feels complete for you, you can bring your awareness back to your breath. And just keep breathing as you gradually re-enter this moment and this space. Feel your body where it connects to the earth, to the surface. Thank your body. Thank your ancestors. Thank your parts for showing up, giving space, or maybe blocking you, not letting you do this, whatever they've communicated with you. Thank everyone involved. And you can slowly open your eyes and come back out. All right. So whenever I lead an exercise like this in a group, I can't necessarily provide the exact amount of time and space that you might need. So I will try to post this on YouTube later, just the meditation part, because then you can pause if you need to. And if it supports you, I also recommend getting the book. I think part of it you can access auditory meditations from Tamala herself. And I think even the auditory book is in Tamala's voice. And so you can do it that way, or even just read it and follow along that way too. Okay. So yeah, take a moment to soak that in. You might write down anything you want to remember, if that's supportive to you. Oh, I'm so glad it was powerful for you. Yeah, so if you, now at this point, we still have about 45 minutes. So if you want to share your experience, again, let everybody know from this point on, as we share and we have Q&A, I will like cut the recording here and I'll only share this with people behind the paywall, right? So I already see some hands raised. So, but you're welcome to share about the experience, maybe your experience of the ancestors themselves, what happened with the part. If you have any questions about your experience.